Welcome back to another episode of Just Talking with Joe Burdick. To get to talk to people like my next guest is why I started this podcast. I wanted to reach out to interesting people and share their amazing stories. My next guest is so interesting. I've wanted to talk to her forever, and I'm glad she finally did it. Um, she is a champion bobsledder, a former D1 softball player, motivational speaker. She's an author, and I can't wait to talk about her book. She was Miss Military 2024 and a trailblazer, active duty Marine, Captain Riley Tejcek. Captain, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Joe.
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I'm so excited to talk to you. There's going to be a few firsts on my podcast. My first active duty military, my first bobsledder, and talking to my first author. So I can't wait to hear your story. I've been following you for a couple years. I love your story. So let's just get right into it. What made you want to join the Marines?
I, unlike a lot of people, didn't really have military in my family. So the military was not something that I thought was for me. My dad was a professional baseball player. My mom's a successful businesswoman. I grew up in the Midwest. And so there's not a whole lot of military bases in Indiana or really in that region that I grew up in. So the military didn't start until college, where I was a freshman and I was excited to be in DC and compete on a Division I softball scholarship. And I met a Marine recruiter, and he just started striking conversation with me about what it meant to live a life of service and to be an athlete forever, to go from a collegiate athlete to a tactical athlete, to be in a leadership position and lead men and women all around the world. And really, again, that service aspect as a Christian. And it's something that caught my attention straight away. And I decided at the age of 18 that that was something I wanted to pursue while still balancing being a collegiate athlete and doing everything like that. So I never enlisted. I never even thought about it. It was always officer route, but I was able to still drive being a collegiate athlete and working towards the Marine Corps at the same time.
And the Marines are a predominantly male service. How did they react, or how did they treat you, uh, as a woman in the Marines?
When I initially decided that I wanted to join the Marine Corps, it was 2015. And roughly at that time, I believe it was about only 4 to 5% of officers were females. So it was really small. To put that in perspective, 10 years later now, it's about 8, 9%. So it's doubled. But at the time, obviously, there wasn't very many. And you kind of hear horror stories. You kind of have this perception, right? Are people going to judge me? How is it going to be? And I would say 95% of the time, it's been nothing but extremely positive interactions. I haven't felt that my gender really has played a role in any conversation or treatment as a Marine. But there is times where things do come up, comments are said, whatever. I don't think necessarily, though, that's only in the military. I think that exists everywhere, especially where there's predominantly males in whatever organization that you're in. But now there has been times and things, and it's unfortunate, but I'm also reminding myself that just because one or two bad apples exist doesn't mean the whole batch is bad.
Right. And how long have you been serving?
So I commissioned in 2019. So I started the process 2015. 4 years later, graduated, commissioned 2019. So I've been serving about 6.5 years active.
Okay. What's been the most rewarding part of serving so far?
There's been so many times where I'm like, this is why I do what I do. I think sometimes it's hearing from Marines that I previously served with, and they're reaching back out to me to share an accomplishment, whether they're a mom or a dad, or whether they got their college degree, or whether they're putting an officer package in. Some of the most other rewardings are people that have reached out to me saying that they joined the Marine Corps because of me, and that they look up to my story and they resonated, which is why they wanted to join. But outside of other people, for me, it would definitely be my deployment. I was able to deploy to Iraq last year, and that was one of the most rewarding experiences, being able to go overseas and do what I always thought that I would do as a Marine, which was try to make impact in real time, in real scenarios.
So when you deployed to Iraq, did did they look at you like, what is she doing there? Or, the Iraqi men, I mean,
Yeah,
not
I
the
definitely was. I don't know how to put this. I was almost like a museum piece, right? Like, wait, there's blonde, white, blue, what? But they actually received me very well. Their culture is extremely unique, where it's very different than the Western mentality. However, they don't yell and scream to women. And even though they have, you know, maybe different religious beliefs and how they treat women and cultural different identities, they were extremely kind, welcoming to me. And even though they're like, we've never really like have worked side to side with very many women like you before, I never felt different or unsafe
Mhm.
or I was seen or looked at in any kind of way differently. It was actually extremely positive experience, and one that I was hoping to be a good role model for women to follow, and have them see women in a different view, and be someone that could serve alongside them doing the same capabilities and be able to do the same amount of work. Again, not necessarily that I need to change their mindset, but to show that it's possible, even though their culture maybe might not have that.
And I've seen a lot of really cool pictures and your social media, little girls when
Mhm.
they see you in uniform, and I saw you at a baseball game, and the look on these little girls' faces. I mean, how does that feel for to you, that to have these little girls looking up to you the way they do?
It makes me emotional every time. Like, actually brings tears to my eyes, because in the hindsight of it, I'm looking and I'm like, there's no difference between you and I.
Mhm.
I've done it. I'm a little bit older than you. I put myself out there. But from a very humble standpoint, I'm like, there's nothing really that special about me. And if I'm able to just be that example for young girls to look at and be like, whoa, like she's a pageant princess, but she's a Marine and she's nice and she competes in sport and she does all this stuff. It's an example of a positive role model that I want young women to see. We're kind of trending to society right now where more and more people want to be influencers, and clothing is getting smaller and smaller, and certain behaviors now acceptable on social media. And it kind of breaks my heart a little bit, because I want young women to be young women and I want little girls to be little girls and to run around and not feel like they have to act older than they are, or things have to be sexualized so early, or all these kinds of things. So a big part of what I'm trying to do is just so that you can be whatever you want and act however you want and do some of these things that can be wholesome, and something that hopefully parents also are proud of, to say, hey, like, look at this example. They're not doing, XYZ, but they still are successful. They're still making impact. And I believe that's the reason why I have this story, this testimony, is that the Lord has blessed me tremendously. And a big goal and dream that I have is to continue to pour into young women and let them know that they're loved, that they're seen, they're valued, and that there's no limit to what they can do in this world.
Well, I'll tell you what, as the father of a daughter, one of the things well, one of the things that I love about you is that you show people, but I look at it as the little girls, you show them that it's okay to believe in God. It's not a bad thing to believe in God. It's cool to work out and eat right and set goals and, dream big. I mean, I see that stuff, and that's the things I hope for my daughter. So I can only imagine how proud your parents must be right now.
Yeah, I see it in them too. That baseball game, my parents were both with me actually. They were able to come to Chicago, and they're the ones who captured that photo. And, and that joy is a direct reflection of how they raised me.
Mhm.
They get the credit for it. And it was actually my father who told me to give the ball. I had gotten the ball, and my dad goes, "You see that little girl?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "She reminds me of you." When we were at the game, and you're short and you're little, and everyone wants this ball, and this, that, and the other. He's like, you should give it to her. And I was like, wow, Dad, I was thinking the same thing, but you kind of beat me to it a little bit to actually have action. So I don't think parents sometimes give themselves enough credit, that being a parent is extremely difficult. And it's a hard job, and that one that I'm excited to take on, but one that I know is going to come with all different kinds of learning lessons and stuff like that. And so I'm just so thankful. I'm also proud of my parents for doing the best that they possibly could with me. And I think they're pretty happy with the result, but maybe not always.
What do they think about you being a Marine?
They are extremely proud, and they love that. They love that aspect of me. They didn't love it at first, right? Just because everyone kind of has this preconceived conception of maybe what the Marines are like, and that's based off of their own experiences. But when you're kind of able to debunk some of those things and actually live it, their perspective is one that is extremely proud. So yeah, my mom has USMC on her license plate. She's super proud to say I'm a Marine mom. She loves it. She loves when she wears a Marine shirt and women ask her if she's the Marine, and she's like, no, but my daughter was. And I'm like, well, Mom, it's because you're fit, and you're a boss woman too. So that's really fun. But yeah, no, my parents, they love it, and they are just massive supporters of me. They're like, if you're happy and you're making impact, we're going to stand behind you and support you. And they've been at every promotion and every single military event, and they love it more and more every time they get to see it.
That's awesome. So a lot has been said, I guess recently, about women in combat roles. What do you think about that?
Well, my own personal opinion, right, is that when you send people out to combat, it doesn't matter who you are, the enemy doesn't care. So whether you're a girl, boy, tall, short, big, large, I don't care. The enemy doesn't care. The enemy's not going to spare your life one way or another. So I don't necessarily think gender matters. If you can hit a standard, hit a standard. That's what I care about. Because at the end of the day, me as Riley is looking to have everyone safe and do our job and come home. And so my biggest thing is I don't think gender really needs to even be in the conversation. My biggest thing is we need to send the best. And if the best is a woman, if the best is a male, like whatever, you're supporting and defending our country. So I just want the people out there that'll be able to get the job done and be able to bring our troops home. And as long as that can get accomplished, I don't really mind. I know for me personally, I don't necessarily wanted I didn't want a combat role. So I'm logistics. I didn't want infantry. That was Riley's own personal decision. But I think the women that want to go for it and they're able to hit those standards, that's freaking dope. And it's tough no matter what. I don't care if you're a boy or a girl. These standards are tough, and they're supposed to be tough, and they're not going to break that because you're asking people to do an incredibly hard job.
So speaking of jobs, you're a recruiter, right?
Right now, yes. I'm in recruiting. Yes. I'm a logistics officer by trade, but I'm doing recruiting.
So one of the, I guess the cool things is when recruiting dipped, the Marines stayed the same. What is it
Mhm.
with the Marines and never having a problem recruiting? What is that?
Well, we don't have to sell the brand. The brand sells itself. And there's a reason why prestige and honor. Recruiting is always difficult. Let me just like say that.
Mm.
We don't have a problem. We get it done. We have some of the best men and women on the streets, but it's still a really difficult job. My attribute to the Marines is we don't offer as many bonuses or incentives or this, that, the other, because like I said, you get the privilege of being a Marine. And that often attracts those people that want to serve and be a part of the best. And that's what we say. We're like, we have the high standards. We're the first ones in, we're the last ones out. We do it with the least. And a very, very, very small population can say that they are United States Marine. And it means something not only nationally, but globally, which I have personally witnessed. And if you want to be a part of the best, come to our team. But I'm not going to make you, I'm not going to sell you. And I don't want anyone who doesn't want to be here. So you can kick the road down the can to their services and they'll give you a better pitch, but what do you got? And I think that in and of itself actually attracts people. But I think recruiting for everyone has been difficult. It's been a while since 9/11. We're in peacetime, And the military is an incredible place, but it's a place that people associate with warfighting. And when you're not warfighting, people just don't maybe see a need of service or anything like that. But my goal and my job is showing people that there's so many jobs out there. Like, for example, most people don't know that the Marine Corps has a band, and not just like your ceremonial bands and like playing Beethoven. Like, I'm talking rock bands and jazz bands, and we have lawyers. Like, you can practice law straight away and make more money than the district attorneys. It's awesome. So I just say that because sometimes, like I said, people have a very narrow-minded viewpoint of what the military is and what it looks like, and there's so much more behind the closed doors that people don't even open up the opportunity to look at.
Right. Well, I say all the time that my parents weren't lucky enough to raise a Marine. So yeah, I was in the Navy. So,
Yeah, but and we
Department of the
love,
Navy.
right, we love our other services. Like,
Yeah.
by any means, if you're gonna serve, you're still part of the 1% of people that are choosing to do something that no one else will do. Like, you got in my book. However, we're gonna numbers are numbers. Our fitness standards are higher, right? We expect a little bit more, and
Yep.
that's just what it is. Now, that also means that we're not for everybody. And there are people that want to be able to go and do certain jobs, like the Navy. Like, you can't be in medical and be in the Marine Corps. You can't be a chaplain and be in the Marine Corps, right? That comes to the Navy. So there are things and options and stuff. If you serve, and I don't care. Thank you for what you do, and know that you're a part of a very small elite community of people that are willing to do what everyone else is not willing to do.
Right. Exactly. I feel the same way. And the fun thing about military is, boy, we can give it to each other. And but we don't like anybody else that's not in the military giving it, but we can give it
Right.
to each other. It's
Exactly.
fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Are you going to be a lifer?
I'm always answer that with, I'm going to see what the Lord has planned for me. I like to say that I plan, and then God laughs and he's like, oh, really? So while I will say this, I have done 6.5 years, and everyone in the military is like, knows exactly where they are and how much time's left to get to the 20 and all that. I'm open. I may not be open to doing that full-time active. I might also want to transition to the reserves and be able to explore some other passions and stuff I have, but I'm going to continue to see where the Lord leads me and guides me. And as long as I'm having fun and it's purposeful, and the God is like, yep, A firm, you're where you're supposed to be, I'll stay. And if that ever changes, I'm not married to the idea of leaving or staying, or yeah.
Well, I'm wearing, I don't know if you can see it, but that's Kareem Nakui. He was actually killed on August 26, 2021. So the 4-year anniversary of his death is coming up. He was part of the 13 that was killed in Afghanistan in the pullout.
Yeah.
And I did a podcast with his mom, and what an amazing story. So I figured, since I'm talking to a Marine, I'm going to wear that's her favorite picture of her son. So
yeah. It's always hard having these conversations, but it's awesome being able to see a picture that you can smile and celebrate life.
yeah.
And
Well,
that's the thing.
Yeah, I've become friends with his mom, and also Dylan Marola's mom. Dylan was he was 20, and he was killed there at Abbey Gate. And talking to them about that experience was probably the best conversation I've ever had in my life, and the hardest also. So, but I'm glad that I did it. And that's another reason why I started this podcast. And I never thought I'd talk to Gold Star moms, but it made me love our veterans even more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you were a D1 athlete in college. What made you say, I want to give this bobsled thing a try? Who does that?
Someone who loves to compete. And that is me. Even in Uno, even in pickleball, Scrabble, I don't care. I want to win and I want to compete. And I didn't want to be done with sport after college. I had given college softball everything leading up to that point. And once you achieve that goal, no one tells you what to do next. And I had the Marine Corps, right? And there was some time between softball and bobsled, which was pursuing the Marine Corps, getting my MOS, getting to the fleet, proving myself as a second lieutenant, and then knowing that I wasn't done yet. And I had that itch and urge to continue to compete, because I knew that as a female, I was getting still bigger, faster, stronger mentally, sharpened up. And I'm like, there's no way I peak between 18 and 22 in sport. Like I still have so much more to give. And so I wanted to see if I could continue pursuing it outside of it and insert bobsled.
So what does a normal week look like for Riley uh, with bobsledding and the Marines? How do you make both of those worlds work?
And the word normal week is non-existent. There is no normal week. Every week is different and demands a whole bunch of different things. It really depends. When I was competing, it mattered if I was in season or out of season. So in season for bobsled is really September to March. Out of season is obviously end of March through beginning of September. And so when I was out of season, I was insert wherever military base or job I was supposed to, and training outside of working hours. So either in the mornings during my lunch or majority of the time in the evenings. And my work schedule would be wake up, PT, do what I need with the Marines, get everything done for the day, then immediately go and train, which was exhausting and really tough. And then when I was in season, again, depend where was I, what was I doing, if we were in comp, if not, when you're actively competing in bobsled, it's a Monday to Sunday, nonstop. Every single day you're doing something, to include training runs, prepping equipment. Sometimes you would do how many? 4 races. Yeah, no, you would do 6 races in 8 days. It was insane. And so with all of that, it was about priorities. What was important that day? Was it, showing up to track, getting all that done, then getting work done after? Is it, hey, work's my priority today, I need to get all this stuff done, maybe I get my training and maybe I don't. Oh, hey, let's throw a curveball in there. At least it's not like I don't do other things. I'm a sister and my sister got married, and my parents have a family vacation and I want to go be a normal person. Like I need to prioritize that. So there's no week that looks the same. Anyone who's an entrepreneur or anyone who balances, and I don't even like the word balance, but who does multiple things and pursues multiple passions, normal is non-existent. And it's really just prioritizing what you need to get done that day to be able to be successful and keep going as you somehow manage to do all of these things at once.
So is the Corps cool with you doing this, and say, because you're active duty, going off to Switzerland or, Lake Placid?
Yeah, so cool is relative. Obviously, right? They saw value in what I brought forward. And it was up to my senior leaders to say, these are your left and right lateral limits. How can we work? And so essentially the deal was I would be in the office every day, all the time. Like that's my point place of duty. There's no difference between me and everyone else. When it came down to competition, I was eligible to go in and compete just like some of the all marine teams would. However, when I was gone competing, I everything was out of my own personal pocket. Like I paid for everything. The Marine Corps wasn't doing anything for me, and I had to work remote. And I was judged on my fit reps and everything according to whether I was there, whether I was not there compared to my peers, which ultimately just put me at a disadvantage, but allowed me the flexibility to say, we'll give you this, but you have to prove yourself. And the second that you're showing that you're not able to manage or do both, that's it. And essentially I competed, and I just officially retired recently from bobsled because I'm not able to do both anymore. And as I now am getting more senior and senior throughout the ranks, and I'm looking to pick up major here within the next 2 years or get on the board for major in 2 years, it's not feasible to do it anymore. So I gave it everything I had. I competed in team trials this past March. The writing on the wall was I wasn't going to make the top 3. I could have continued, but at what cost? At the cost of not being able to continue to give the Marine Corps everything. I gave it 5 years. I put myself in the best position possible. My highest ranking was 14 in the whole entire world, while being the only one that's been able to achieve that while being active duty on the Marine Corps side, for winter sports. And I competed in 2 world championships, and I won a gold medal this past January. So while it hurts me to be done, and I'm still trying to wrestle with that, I made the decision and prioritized the Marine Corps like I said I would always, and stay true to that commitment.
So is there another sport that you're thinking about?
I
Really
am
stoked now.
excited.
It's surfing.
Yeah, no, I need to tone it down a bit. I'm actually looking to do high rocks. So, something that's able to be local. It's on the weekends. It's not a big movement. I can either do it or not, right? There's no requirement. You just sign up and do it or you just don't. So, me and one of my really good friends, we're going to compete in high rocks in December. I'm going to find a way to be competitive. You best believe that. That's how we started this, right? I love to compete and I will continue to challenge push myself. Maybe that's through half marathons, maybe that's through Spartan races, right? But I know that I need to tone it back. And again, priorities. My priorities right now are being the best daggone recruiter that I possibly can and give the Marines everything and then some. And then I'm starting a family. And that's something that's a priority for me. I had my book just launched here soon and wanting to make sure that I'm getting out there and being able to enjoy this gift and give it to others and up my speaking. I love, love, love to do motivational or keynote speaking. It's something that brings me so much joy. And I can't, not all of those things could exist. So now that bobsled's taken off my plate, that story and what it's taught me isn't going anywhere. But now I have a little bit more capacity that can be dished out to things that are well deserving of my time.
Well, just the fact that you told yourself, I want to do it, and you did it, and
Yeah.
then you're 14th best in the world. Did you say in the world?
Yes.
I mean, that is unbelievable for especially for little girls. I mean, I'm proud of you, and I don't even know you, so I think that's amazing.
Thank
But
you.
I have a couple more questions about bobsled because I love the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
You I read that you could pull 5 Gs in one of those things. What was that like?
Like yeah, it's insane. You can feel it and it is a wild feeling. It's an intimidating feeling and a feeling that we have to warn new people to go to the bathroom before they sometimes get in the back of a bobsled.
And the adrenaline rush must be
Through the
insane.
roof. My heart rate has never been so high standing still before I go down the hill. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up, I mean, I've watched Cool Runnings probably 1,000 times. I've always loved that movie. And I is it true that at Lake Placid there is a almost like a ride you can do, like a
Yep.
bobsled ride? Really?
Yeah, there's one in Lake Placid and in a couple other different countries that have a bobsled track. It's like a bobsled experience. So think of it like a middle ride at Disney. You get in this bobsled, you go up the track, and then you wind your way down. It's a coaster.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I think I'd like to try something like that.
Yeah, I know it's super fun.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Lake Placid anyway, just for the the whole history, especially with the
Yeah,
Miracle on Ice.
1980s. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as a world-class athlete and a female Marine, how do you hope to inspire the next generation of women? I know we
Mm.
talked a little bit about the little girls but how do you want to inspire them?
I just want to create impact. I want them to see that it's possible, right? I don't want there to be any more young Rileys that didn't see that being a Marine could be an option for them. I want women to know that there is no limitation to what they can do. They don't have to pick or choose whether they're girly or whether they're a tomboy. They don't have to put a box around their goals or their desires or things that maybe don't make sense on paper, but they like doing all of these things. And ultimately, I just hope that they see that because I've done it, there's no excuse or reason why they can as well.
Well, speaking of your book, I have one here.
Yay!
I have a very special little girl that I'm going to give it to, and I told you I'm going to give one to the library where I live, so other little girls can read your book. So I'm very happy to have mine. But what inspired you to do this?
Going back to that question that you asked me a little bit earlier is, what was it like joining the Marine Corps and what was that story like? And that story revolves around never seeing a female Marine. And the inspiration behind that is we are in 2025. There is no reason why there should be another young Riley that is now growing up in this day and age that doesn't know that being a female Marine is a possibility for them. And this book started with that, but then it ventured off to so much more. It ventured off to people realizing, wait, you can be a pageant winner and wear a pretty dress and put makeup on, but you also can go in the field and in the Marine Corps and have cami paint and be sleeping outside and shoot a weapon. While also people joke that the Marines eat crowns, but you're able to still write and publish a book, but then have the ability and skill to like get up on stage and be able to speak in front of hundreds of people, being vulnerable, sharing your story, and just showing the evolution of what women are capable and able to do. So my biggest goal is that someone reads this book and realizes that this is a true story and they can see themselves and insert them into any part of it, and that it too can be true and happen, and they have the ability to live a life that is just as wonderful, if not better.
Nice. What was the most challenging part about writing about your journey?
The most challenging part is honestly sometimes the fear of like what people are going to think, and being vulnerable and putting yourself out there, and people maybe not agreeing with it, or people being like, well, I don't like it, right? You're vulnerable. You're the man in the arena. You are opening yourself up to criticism. You're opening yourself up to, like, there's a reason why they give you a rankings, right? You can choose 5 stars to 0 stars. You can write a review. You can say it's great. You can say this is the worst thing ever. Opening yourself up to that is I think the most challenging part. Being open, honest, and vulnerable, that was easy. Figuring it out, I can do that. But it's opening up a very personal life story and opening it up to potentially critics. And that's something that people, I think, know it's there, but then when a comment or stuff is made, or someone's like, well, I didn't actually like the book, you're like, oh, that hurts a little bit more than I thought it would. And yeah, I haven't had anyone really say that at all. I just had like some things that weren't really my fault. Like one time, the book got chewed up when someone got it, and there was like a little like divot over here, and like it looks like someone like kind of a little rat took like a bite or something, and they're like, "This my book was damaged. Like what what happened? I don't say." I'm like, well, it's not me. Like I don't know. Like but
You're not shipping them out.
Right. I didn't eat it. I'm a Marine. I eat crowns, not books. But yeah.
So I hope everyone that sees my podcast orders one of your books. What's the biggest message you want a reader to take away from it?
I always write on there. So anyone who wants a signed copy, you can reach out to me. And every time I write, I always write a different message, but I write something along the lines of always dream big. I tell them be bold, be kind, and be oh my gosh, bold, kind, and courageous. I don't know why that's hard for me today. Courageous as you continue to pursue whatever you are looking for to do in this world. That's the message. Always dream big, big scope, bold, kind, courageous. If you can do those things, and that's the only thing you take away, I am winning. And I think that's pretty easy but simplified life advice that can make a really big impact.
Do you see writing as a way of serving like you do in like
Yeah.
the military and when you were a
Yeah,
boss? And you have
I do, because I think writing true stories and sharing that is a way of serving other people to engage in your story and learn from it, to either not make the same mistakes or to follow the process or to gain knowledge and information about this crazy world. There's nothing more that I like. Sometimes I'm picking up a book, and right now I'm really into obviously reading books from military members, whether they're special operators or stuff, and learning what they did in combat or what they did in their experience. One, to learn. Two, to take life lessons away, but three, to just admire. So if I can do any of those things, I think that's an incredible way of serving. But I also think it's a great way for veterans. Whether you publish it or not, I think it's a really good skill to cope with whatever it is, to just write things down. It's very therapeutic. And I think as we've seen a lot of veterans sometimes struggle with sharing their stories, writing can be very intimate and personal, and it doesn't have to be for anyone else but yourself.
right. I always tell young people in the military, take lots of pictures. You'll appreciate them when you're older. Keep
Yeah.
a journal of all the stuff you do because you're going to do some really cool stuff and you're going to want to reference that years later and have fun and take full advantage of the military.
Yeah.
So that's the advice I give young people in the military right now. And you know, I make these wooden flags.
Yeah.
You have
I know.
one.
They're incredible.
But I say through my flags, it's like I'm still serving because I'm honoring the veterans. I'm helping raise money for veterans charities. And, you know, it's to bring awareness to PTSD and things like that. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, if you're looking for a good book to read, if you haven't read it yet, there's a good book called Red Platoon
Mm.
by Clint Romeshay. He got the Medal of Honor in Afghanistan. It's amazing.
Okay. Yeah.
Steel Steel Will. That is I did a podcast with him. That's a Shiloh Harris.
Mhm.
Uh, and there's a book called Descent into Darkness. It's a Navy salvage and recovery diver in World War II. He was the first person to go on the Arizona after you know, it sank, and it's
Wow.
pretty amazing book. 3 very amazing books.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
I do love reading a lot, especially firsthand accounts from military.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, where can people find your book?
The easy answer is it's on Amazon. Majority of people now have an Amazon account, but like I said, if you do want a signed copy, I love doing that. You can reach out to me directly. I have my own stash, and I can make sure that that's coordinated for you.
Okay, so everybody buy the book. If you can dream it, be it. So buy the book. So I read something, actually, speaking of social media and Instagram, I read on a friend's thing, I think today, that faith in Jesus is the highest since 2013. How
Mm.
important is your faith to you? I mean, I think I know the answer, but
It's everything. Faith, faith in Jesus is everything. It's not a religion; it's a relationship. And Christ is my cornerstone. He's my foundation. He's my backbone. Everything I have, and then some. But I'm only here today because of Him. Every success I had, all glory to Him. And even when things don't go bad or don't go well, and they go bad, I give it up to Him and I'm so thankful. I gave my life back to Christ in college. I grew up Catholic, broke away, rededicated my life to Christ, and it's been the biggest blessing and the most beautiful thing that's ever happened to me. And people ask me sometimes, like, how are you always smiling? Even in hard workouts or this, how are you, this? And I just said, because I am joyful. I'm not happy. I'm joyful because the Lord is so incredibly good. And everything that I have is a privilege and a blessing. And when you start able to look at things from that perspective, I have such peace when things work out or they don't work out because I know that God is in control of everything and this life is temporary. And I try to make the absolute most of it and maximize my time here.
well, how has your faith shaped you?
I think it has completely changed my persona of how I see myself. It gives me my purpose, my why. Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? What should I be doing? And I think a lot of people miss that. Like, what is my purpose in this world? What is my why? Why do I wake up every day? Why do I do this? Like, all those questions are answered. I know who I am because I know whose I am. And that has given me such knowledge and wisdom to notice that and see that. And then it's also shaped me in the sense of my relationships. Love your enemies like you love yourself. Don't cover what your neighbor has, right? Be quick to listen, slow to anger, and just treat people in a way that, again, you want to treat yourself with love and kindness. And it has allowed me to see people differently, even people that are maybe broken or struggling, or people that maybe persecute me or anything like that. Seeing Jesus in them, that they are a creation of the Lord, and being able to love them regardless of things, and have a heart where I want to pray and love over them instead of maybe cause destruction or breathe like death through my words and my actions, but instead breathe life and love and joyfulness.
Have you had any experiences that deepened your faith?
Yeah, you have to be careful when you ask for things, right? Like when you pray for patience, the Lord doesn't just give you patience; He gives you a situation that forces you to be patient. I think that when trials and tribulations come, they are testing your faith. When you get squeezed, and when you get out of your comfort zone, you get squeezed. Things are good or they're bad. I think they deepen your faith by realizing that the Lord is constant and he is there and he gets you through things. Even when doors didn't open for me and I was maybe upset at the time, hindsight is 2020, because then I see that the Lord's plan further on. I'm like, Lord, like that was you. Like you made sure that that door didn't open, or you were that not yet because you had something better, or whatever it may be. But I think everything enhances and deepens my relationship, honestly. Your family, and you see like the love that you can have for your spouse and wanting a family, that deepens your bond and love with Christ, of saying thank you for giving, men and women partnership to be able to create beautiful children in a life, even at work and in sport, right? Being able to do that and see the Lord's hand, and being able to bring people and unify nations from all over through sport or through service, and have a commonality, even though we don't even speak the same language. So yeah, I would be lying if I said my faith wasn't deepened every single day, because the Lord just continues to show his face and his goodness. And while it may not be a trajectory that looks like this, it's always somehow pointing up, because I'm learning more and more about him every day.
That's beautiful. I used to be a Catholic also, and I realized I wasn't getting anything out of it, and I learned that I didn't need a religion, I needed a relationship,
Yeah.
and so I switched over and I became a Christian, and I had something happen 20 years ago, and I made a promise to God, and I wanted to do something that I could keep, not like I'll join I'll be a pastor or something, but I wanted to make a promise that I would keep. And he answered my prayer, and I promised him that I would wear a cross around my neck to remind me of not only what he did for,
Mm-hmm.
his son, but what he also did for my son. And same cross for 20 years I've been wearing as a reminder that God looked out for me and he answered my prayer. So
Yeah.
it's I'm right there with you with that, with the faith, and it's disappointing that so many people are winging it, and thinking they can do just fine without him. And I know he's just sitting there waiting for them to, you know, with open arms when they're ready. But
Yeah.
I'm sure he's very disappointed with the people that are trying, just winging it.
Well, that's why it's our job to populate heaven. And that's
Yeah,
part of the purpose, is just sharing his message and not forcing it upon people. Like you said, it's not a religion, it's a relationship. And a relationship only works when two people, two entities are looking to work on it and be involved in it. So I think that us even talking about this and saying, hey, we've been there, we've had it, we've not, and there's something here that's worth looking into and listening. And we pray that the Lord uses this conversation to be able to spark that curiosity, that someone might have, to know that the Lord is waiting and he will leave 99 people to pursue you and your heart alone. And you are worth saving, and you are worth living a life that has this shalom peace that both you and I possess.
well, do you have a favorite passage?
Yeah, Joshua 1:9. That's what this book was also written on. Have I not commanded you? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Be bold and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And I think that is just affirmation of how fear wants to grip you and prevent you from walking forward. And the story was that, that says Moses had passed, and now Joshua is entering this leadership role, and he's like, you gotta go out there. You just got to do it and have faith and trust that I have commanded you and I am with you. And I think that is just something that I hold on to dearly, especially when fear wants to cripple in, or, a hard situation is starting to arise.
Hmm. Well, what a lot of times on my flags, I'll put a passage. I'll put Phil 3:12 or
Mhm.
Matthew 5:9, and my hope is that somebody will see Phil 3:12 and say, "What is that? Is that a Bible passage?" And then it inspires them to open their Bible and say, "Oh, wow, that's I don't have to be perfect in God's eyes." Or Matthew 5:9, "Blessed are the peacemakers." And then they say, "Oh, I remember at football games they used to have that John 3:16. What's that?" So then
Mhm.
they start thumbing through their Bible, and next thing you know, they're reading. That's my hope. My pastor calls it flag evangelism, so that's kind of what I do. But one of the first passages I ever heard has always been my favorite when I was kind of doubting, and my pastor told me, "Blessed is he who believes and does not see." So
Mhm.
I've that's always been my favorite. So and that's what I tell people all the time, especially doubters. You don't have to see. But
Yeah.
so well, I know you want to get going, so I just have a couple of fun things before I let
Oh,
you
okay.
go.
Yeah.
All right. So what is your and I've never had one of these. What's your favorite MRE?
None. I don't like them. Full disclosure, I do not like them. I like the strike bars that are in them. But yeah,
Mhm.
they just don't sit well with my stomach. They just, yeah. But the strike bars, they're actually not bad. But yeah, MRE, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a meal ready to eat. These have a very long stock life. There are substitutes when we go out and we're living in the field and aren't able to have chow or food that is readily available. So they're high in calories, which is really great, and some of the things that you need to basically survive. Some of them do taste well. I won't lie about that, but they're a unique circumstance, and they're fun for people who aren't in the military to try. Right, you can buy them, and it's a fun thing. I would recommend it, but once you've had them and that's all you've been able to have, yeah, I'm good.
All right. So what's your go-to workout song?
10K by KB. 10K is 10,000 Reasons, and it's a rendition of that. KB is a Christian rap artist, and he's incredible. So if you're looking for a Christian rap artist, KB is an incredible one to listen to.
Well, I'll tell you what. Um, the last podcast I did, have you ever heard of Dave Bray?
No.
Dave Bray, look him up. He's a former Navy corpsman. Um, he was also the front man for a band called Madison Rising, and he sings the best version of the national anthem I've ever heard. Well,
Hmm.
Dave Bray's music is inspired by not only his military service, which he does some amazing songs for veterans and first responders, but it's also inspired by his faith. He's
Mm.
very, very faithful, and his music is so amazing. So
Hmm.
look up Dave Bray,
Okay,
and
I will.
you'll probably thank me for introducing you to that.
I probably will. Yeah, thank you.
And I'll send you the link to that podcast if you have time to listen to it sometime. I mean, he's an amazing, amazing individual, and fellow Navy guy. But he was a corpsman, so he was with the Marines.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
you'll like him. Um, Coffee or energy drinks?
neither. I don't do any caffeine.
No. Okay. I know I asked you, but if besides what is it, high rocks? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Is there any other sport that you think you might want to try out? Something like
Um, yeah, like I said, high rocks is something that I'll continue to do and compete in. Like I said, I'm really interested in maybe running a half marathon. I think that's a big accomplishment and something I want to do. But no, I just kind of want to maybe pickleball for fun. I just want to have low key sports. I have been in competitive sport for 25 years, and I think I'm ready for a nice healthy break and to just enjoy competition, which I say that, and I can't just do something and not do it all the way. But yeah, for now I'm just looking forward to maintaining good physical fitness. High rocks is a really good challenge, but something that isn't make or break or doesn't require the amount of level that bobsled did for me.
okay. And last question. One word that sums up your Marine athlete lifestyle. One word.
I would just say rewarding. Rewarding, being able to represent USA and the Marine Corps at the same time was, again, made me tear up emotionally so many times when I got to stand on that podium finally, and I heard the national anthem playing. I'm sitting at attention, and I see the flag wavering in the wind, and I'm realizing, this flag represents so much, and I get to see it and stand in front of colors in a way where I'm representing the United States of America winning and the United States Marine Corps. And there's not very many people that get to experience that.
Well, it made me think of one more question. So, and you don't have to answer it, I guess, if you don't want to. But when you're standing on a podium and you're hearing the anthem, I mean, I think our natural reaction should be to tear up that we're representing our country. What do you think about people that have the opposite opinion serving, of representing their country, and I don't know, they protest the anthem, or they refuse to stand for it.
Yeah. My personal opinion with that is I always want to actually figure out why. Like what is it that you are upset with? Because I think ultimately we live in that country and we have that beautiful flag raising, which means you can act that way. And there's no negative repercussions as there are in some other countries. And I and other people fight for your freedom to do that. And my biggest thing is, hearing their point of view because I believe that they should be listened to. And sometimes, my initial reaction might want to be like, well, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. But I'm also like, okay, you believe in something so wholeheartedly that you're willing to make some kind of stance for it. So teach me, what is it? Let me hear you out. And then if they're willing, I'd like to explain why, I think it's important to stand and what it means. And you can be protesting. You have the right to protest, do and act however you want to. That's a right. But keep in mind that the flag also stands for a lot more. And especially for people that have served, it stands for a lot and it means a lot more. And just trying to bridge the gap that both sides would feel. And then if you're able to have that conversation and if people could take it from that perspective, I don't think people would be as reactive to either way of what people do. But at the end of the day, I can't control what other people do and I don't want to. So I'm going to stand up there and I'm going to smile and I'm probably going to have some tears in my eyes. And that's how I choose to go about it. And I know that there's people that are going to think otherwise. And I'm glad we live in a country that allows you to choose.
And you did it. So, like I said, I can say I barely know you, but I'm still very proud of you that you're such an amazing role model. And like I said, I know a very special little girl that's going to be getting this very soon. So, I'm very grateful that you took this time to do this with me. I'm so honored to be able to help share your story. And I hope everybody that sees this buys one of your books.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks.
Thank you. So, all right. Well, with that said, I'll let you go. I'm sure you have a million things you'd rather be doing. So thank you very much for taking the time and talking with me. Okay, Semper Fi.